as we inch closer to the 2020 NFL season, how will it work, and will there even be a season? So there's a lot of questions as to how things are actually going to work with the NFL season as we are slowly approaching what would have been the NFL preseason. There was some news recently that the NFL decided to either cancel the preseason or shorten it to 2 games, and the actual solution is a little up in the air on that one, whether or not there is even going to be a preseason at all, or if they're just going to jump right into the regular season. Now, the NFL's kind of working off of we're going to see how it goes with everybody else basis, right? The Major League Baseball, the NBA, soccer leagues from around the world, including MLS, are all kind of figuring out how they're even operating right now. Major League Soccer and Premier League Soccer having no fans in attendance. And really, so even some organizations are putting like cardboard cutouts. You see it out of like Japan. They're putting cardboard cutouts of fans in the stands, getting people to want to get their cardboard printout. If it hits your sign, then you get the baseball sent to you in the mail. A whole bunch of really interesting stuff. But hey, they just asked the question of, will there even be fans in the stands? How will the NFL operate a season? And what's coming in the future? Now, the Baltimore Ravens, one of the first NFL organizations to come out and say, hey, we are trying to actually have fans at the stadium at a very reduced capacity of only 14,000 total fans being able to be present at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. So the guidelines are a lot of social distancing right now. The hope is that there will be an NFL season, but well, you got to think about the fans, right? I mean, reduced seating could work potentially, socially distancing, and that can maybe work, but then you have staff, you have all sorts of people involved with the team, faculty, whatever part of the stadium, and then the players as well. Do the players, gather in a hotel near the stadium? Do they travel solely on team planes? Do they, self-isolate away from family members? Well, it's really confusing as to what the deal is. How often will there actually be testing? What are the actual guidelines here? And there haven't been a lot of public information made by the NFL so far. I'm sure the NFL's been trying to tackle this problem for months now and trying to negotiate with the NFL Players Association and NFLPA president and offensive lineman for the Cleveland Browns, J.C. Tretter, just kind of hesitant to what the NFL's procedures are going to be, stating that the NFL kind of seems like they're operating and working on everything is going to surround the NFL. It's not going to impact the NFL, but that obviously isn't true. We're seeing from all sorts of major league sports, professional level sports, that players and coaches and everybody else in the like are testing positive for coronavirus, COVID-19, and how things are operating. The NBA is gathering all of their athletes to the, Disney Worldwide of Sports in Orlando, Florida, resuming a season. Really interesting kind of playoff format here soon. Potential NBA playoffs and finals conducted in October and September. So, everybody's kind of running on a really weird schedule now. And the question of, can they coordinate everything is a huge thing too. The NFL has a lot of people that have to juggle here, and that's outside of just regular team personnel, regular team staff, stadium staff. Well, they've also got media, fans, right? So how are they gonna balance all of those things? And, right now we're kind of looking at the NBA, Major League Baseball, soccer leagues, again, from all around the world, as kind of the science experiment here, the test subject, the guinea pig, if you will, to see how these things are actually going to work out. Can they be successful? We're seeing Premier League Soccer is at least kind of taking steps in the right direction and, kind of isolating players away and player personnel. There have been a couple of cases of, guys have gone out of the team hotels and then you have to re-isolate and, all sorts of testing and protocols and it's crazy. We're living in insane times right now, and it's the new normal, so to speak. We're not sure how long the world's going to be impacted by all of this, but, we're just going to have to see, right? NFL fans like myself, I'm absolutely hoping there's going to be an NFL season, but at the end of the day, you don't want to have athletes putting themselves in harm's way, as well as their families, as well as other people by extension, if that means, well, you know, we get to watch some football this fall, right? The primary thing here is remaining healthy, trying to keep people safe, and you're gonna start seeing a lot of players saying, hey, I'm not going to play if there aren't better guidelines or things that are more comfortable here, or whatever the players are trying to desire. The NFL kind of figuring out pay cuts and all sorts of stuff because, well, advertising revenue is going to be taking a hit. A lot of advertisers obviously not doing so hot during these times. Trying to figure out ways to make back some of the lost fan attendance money. The NFL brings in billions of dollars on just attendance alone, and having fans in the stands is a huge part of the football experience, right? A huge part of the watching, the fan experience, the everything. The game doesn't exist without the fans, right? So trying to make up for the lost revenue as far as advertising by allowing teams to potentially, you know, blanket off the first row, the first bowl, have you, for NFL games with advertising, kind of similar to what you saw during the London games where they had the Jaguars logos and whoever else on the other side's logos, kind of covering a section of the seats. So we're just kind of figuring things out as we go. It's a lot of stuff up in the air. I'm really interested to see how the NFL is actually trying to handle these things, what their approach is going to be, and it kind of seems like they're sitting back, waiting to see how things are going to develop with all the other major sports, as well as some collegiate, right? I mean, there are plenty of collegiate organizations saying, we're not going to be playing sports this fall. So football, basketball, baseball, soccer, all of the major sports from around the world, hockey as well included, still trying to figure out how to navigate. Obviously, people like you, me, everybody kind of missing some sense of normalcy, but sports fans like us missing, you know, the packed crowds, missing the stadium experience, missing the camaraderie of having other fans of other teams around and having the negotiations and discussions and the fun talks and the big development. Day to day, it seems like, well, everything's been slowed down. It's been kind of weird these days. Obviously, everybody's taking a hit. Everybody is, you know, being impacted by all of this. And, you know, from my personal standpoint, I just want all of you guys to try to stay as healthy as possible. Take whatever proper precautions you have. I'm trying to do the same. A lot's going on here, going through a move here very, very soon. The next time you see me, I'm probably not even of the same background, right? So, you know, just try to be precautious and try to be healthy, try to be safe. And that's what the NFL is at the end of the day going to try to do for their athletes. They're going to try to resume the season. Hopefully there's not going to be any stoppages. That's a big worry as well, is if you start things, can you finish things? And what does it mean for players? Do they have to self-isolate away from family members? Do they have to self-isolate away from, you know, each other at certain points? The NFL is a contact sport. If somebody has contracted the virus and, you know, puts their hands on somebody else, a lot of bodily fluids flying around the field and stuff of that nature. So NFL players absolutely are at a very high risk given the profession. There's a lot of contact there, a lot of interaction and engagement among players, fans, staff, personnel, whoever. The game is physical. It's a physical game by nature, and, well, obviously a lot of precautions are going to be taken. Looking around sports world, again, we're looking at the NBA, MLS, whatever, and those are kind of the science experiments, the test subjects, and we're going to have to see how well those pan out, because I feel like those are the organizations the NFL is looking at to say, hey, you know, what's worked for them, what hasn't worked, what can we do to make, you know, take the best and leave the worst behind to make the player experience, the fan experience, the organization's experience as safe as possible. So in the end, if you're asking me, do I think there will be an NFL season? Well, I'm not really sure. I'm not an expert on these kind of things. I'm not exactly 100% confident there will be a start that we typically have had. I'm not exactly sure whether or not training camps or OTAs or whatever are going to function quite the same ways. How restrictive are things going to be for fans and media and whoever? How restrictive and how different are broadcasts going to be? I'm just not quite sure myself. I'm really interested to see what the NFL is going to do moving forward. If there's going to be an NFL season, I'm holding out hope as an NFL fan, but I think we should all be very cautious and as well as optimistic. But thank you so much for watching the video. All my social medias are down in the description below. Feel free to stick around and watch some more content. Subscribe, get the bell to know every single time I'm dropping a video. Like, comment, share, all the good stuff, and I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Adios.